I think it's a difficult environment. The industry is certainly under distress. I think from our point of view, we focus very much on our own, almost the variables that's within our control. So certainly making sure the balance of the business are right. We've done a lot over the last 18 months in terms of product mix, creating new markets for our product. That being said, it's not something that you can get away from. I think the industry needs some changes. The industry almost is in a restructuring in itself, and that will only change once there's significant changes in the variables or the contributors to that industry. So even though it's a main part of our revenue, I think it's something that we'll continue to work on to make sure that we actually get the efficiencies right.
Could we touch on some of that restructuring? As I mentioned earlier, that your poultry business is a significant contributor to your revenue line. Should things turn a little bit ugly there, what do you have in place to protect the earnings that you might lose from that area?
Look, I think it's difficult to protect it. I think we're in a scenario where we experienced a perfect storm over the last 2 years specifically, with specifically high raw material prices, obviously having an inflated animal feed price. And as a result of that, you will see some pressure on the business in any event. We also have a very soft consumer market. And then, of course, the imports. So all of those three things are playing to the negative part of the business at this point in time. I think what we're doing is to make sure that the business is balanced enough that you don't lose money within the business in terms of operation and efficiencies. So you need to try and make sure the operations are run well, and then obviously that you have the diversification in terms of the product mix. So those were the biggest part of our focus, and we trust once any of those three elements starts to change, it will have a positive impact on the business forward.
As I understand that there are currently discussions between government as well as chicken producers with regard to potentially imposing tariffs on the EU sanctions, I beg your pardon. But I understand that these regulations might not be in connection with regard to the WTO, which is the World Trade Organization.
Look, I think there are different approaches from the industry side. Certainly there are discussions between industry and government on various levels in terms of not just potential tariffs or anti-dumping tariffs, but also in terms of just administration of imported product, in terms of actual duties at the ports, and the process of administering those duties. So there are different levels. I think there's, at least on both sides, there's focus on trying to see what can be changed and what can support the industry. We must just hope that all those work streams comes to a positive end and a positive conclusion.
Let's take a look now at some of the sweet spots in your numbers. There's definitely the recent acquisition, or rather the merger between AFGRI as well as Senves, which recently got the go-ahead by the Competition Commission. Where exactly are you hoping that might take your business to? Because this is two of the biggest agricultural companies in SA.
True. I think the focus from both sides was really to try and create a platform. The market is changing, and we also said that we want to create a retail platform that can focus on that changing environment, as well as just focusing on growth. So you want to almost create that platform where you can grow from. Otherwise, you continue to reduce costs and you continue to reduce stores. The focus that we had between both partners was to say we need to look at the future. We need to find a sustainable model, and we need to find a model that we can grow across South Africa, and this is, we believe, a very good model that we can continue to drive forward.
Touching on some models that might contribute positively to your bottom line is AFGRI's financial services sector. That's shown sterling growth within the past couple of years. Would you say that you're looking at driving this as your new growth platform or area?
I think it's one of the areas, Gugu, it was one of those areas where in 2009 we made a 19 million rand loss, and this year we made a 91 million rand profit. So it's a good story for us. We've changed the business model there. We've obviously have a very good partner in Land Bank in terms of the support and utilizing, some of the benefits that they can add to the partnership from a balance sheet point of view, as well from expertise point of view, but also being able to expand across the South Africa. So being able to have that relationship helped us, but also it's important for us now driving forward that we create additional opportunities, new products that we can, actually offer the customer through that model.
Let's also take a look at some of your expanding operations into the rest of the continent. You've recently acquired operations within Nigeria as well as Zimbabwe. How exactly do you think that might positively impact on your bottom line?
Look, Africa this year contributed about 20 million rand in profits. I mean, it's still small, but it's something that we drive forward. We operate now in 7 countries. We actually manage product in another 3 countries. So it's certainly a big focus area for us. It's also a long-term drive for us. AFGRI is all we do as part of food security. We have a big drive to position AFGRI as a food security player on the continent, and it's a long-term view that we take on the continent.
Any plans to move into other African states? Which ones might those be?
Absolutely. We recently opened up in Uganda, so we have a constant focus of expanding. There are opportunities in other countries on the eastern parts of the continent, so we continue to assess those opportunities. But generally, it's really just the focus of seeing how can we expand our footprint, not taking too many risks, but making sure that we can get some return on the capital.